everyone, it's Katie from Paradise Falls family. In this video we'll be continuing our Canada and Alaska series by looking at our road trip and in particular our day out to Drumheller, which we did when we were based in Calgary. We'd wanted to visit Drumheller from the outset while planning this holiday and toyed with the idea of staying overnight, but in the end we settled on just a day trip. Drumheller is out in the Badlands of Alberta, about an hour and a half east of Calgary, and it's known as the dinosaur capital of the world due to the number of dinosaur skeletons that have been found and continue to be found on an almost daily basis. You've also got Dinosaur Provincial Park, which is around 2 hours south of Drumheller and looks really interesting and has the largest concentration of dinosaur fossils in the world. You can visit the visitor centre here, do a fossil safari where you get out and look for fossils yourself, or you can do the 3-kilometre self-drive of the area. So if dinosaurs are your thing, you'll love it here. This was the main reason we were looking at staying over, as doing this plus Drumheller in a day from Calgary just wasn't possible. In the end though, unfortunately we had to miss this due to time constraints, but it's worth keeping in mind if you're in the region. So back to Drumheller itself. Having decided we'd do a day trip, we put together a bit of a plan of the things we wanted to see and do. We knew with it only being our second morning and so early in the holiday, we'd still be jet lagged, so we'd be up really early. This gave us a good shot of getting out early and fitting in as much as possible. As it happened, we were all up around 5 AM, so we had a Starbucks breakfast and were on the road for 7 AM. Leaving so early meant we had time to stop at Walmart out near the airport on the way out of the city and stocked up on some snacks for the holiday and bits for the day. Then it was around an hour and a half out to Drumheller. Most of the drive out was pretty flat farmland, very nice although after a while not that interesting, and the highway pretty much just heads straight out east for a lot of the way, so the journey did drag a little bit. We'd done our research, so we'd noted a couple of stops coming in and out of the town. The first of these was Horseshoe Canyon. This is just off Highway 9, around 17 kilometres west of Drumheller, so a nice stop on the way in. It was just $2 to park, with pit toilets and a viewing platform out over the canyon. This is really where the scenery starts to change and gets a bit more interesting, and the canyon was really impressive, worth the quick stop. If you've got time you can do some hiking here, but for us it was just a quick stretch of the legs and we were on our way again. Further into town, just on the outskirts, we made another stop by the big Drumheller sign on the right hand side coming into town. This is a good photo opportunity, but there's also some cool rock formations and hills that you can climb on around here as well. Be careful though, as the rocks are very slippy and crumbly here. We then basically had two main stops in and around the town, the centre itself and the world's largest dinosaur, and the Royal Tyrrell Museum of Paleontology. Our plan, with it being late morning, was to start by parking in the town centre, exploring a little and getting some lunch. However, we found that there weren't that many options or places to eat and we struggled a little bit here, so we had to resort to a McDonald's lunch which was out on the edge of town. With hindsight, we should have just bought a picnic from Walmart, as this would have worked really well, as the area around the giant dinosaur has a little park and splash area, so we could have easily had a nice picnic here. There's plenty of parking around here, at around $6 for 3 hours, which is plenty of time. There's a little visitor centre at the base of the dinosaur, and you can go up to the top for $15 per family. It's really easy to climb up and down and only takes around 10 minutes in total. However, there's only room for one family at a time in the actual mouth, so it depends on how long the queue is. It was pretty quiet for us, so we were in and out really quickly. You get some nice views and it's worth doing if you're here, given it's relatively cheap. As I mentioned, there's a splash area here and a nice park, so we enjoyed some time cooling off. It was incredibly hot, so the kids enjoyed the water and the shave ice stand nearby too. The park actually forms part of the Dinosaur Trail, which runs around the town and out both sides. You'll see loads of little dinosaur statues and street names, which is a nice touch. The trail then runs out of town to the Royal Tyrrell Museum and beyond. The museum itself is amazing and a fantastic spot for anyone at all interested in dinosaurs or archaeology. It has loads of information on the dinosaurs discovered here, of which there are many, and loads of cool skeletons and exhibits. We didn't pre-book museum tickets simply because we didn't want to restrict ourselves to a set time. However, the museum does have a lot of cool extra activities that you really do need to pre-book. For example, there's a dig experience both indoors and outdoors, fossil casting and other guided tours and talks. These do book up though. The kids hadn't said that they particularly fancied any of them, but then they quickly changed their minds once we arrived, but by then they'd already been booked up. So if you think you might want to take part, buy your tickets and book on in advance. Tickets on the day came to around $50 for the 4 of us, so really good value, and we spent maybe 2 hours here. It's recommended to spend 3 hours here, but the museum was absolutely packed. It was really busy, so it did feel a bit hectic and loud. As a result, we probably went around pretty quickly, but the number and quality of the exhibits was amazing and definitely worth the visit. It's also worth considering the time of your visit carefully as well. It does get very hot out here, and a few of the activities are outside, so that's something to keep in mind. The parking lot also gets very busy. We did get parked okay early afternoon, but it took us a few loops around to find a space as somebody else was leaving. Moving on, we continued away from the town along the Dinosaur Trail. This basically does a loop north of the town up to Horsethief Canyon Viewpoint, the Blurry-O Ferry, Orkney Viewpoint and then back down into town. The trail also extends out south of the town to the Hoodoo Trail, which did look like really cool rock formations, but we just didn't have time for this part of the trail today, unfortunately. We did the loop anti-clockwise, starting at Horsethief Canyon, which probably took around 15 minutes to get here from the museum. There's a rough parking lot here, and then amazing views down into the canyon. The rock formations and colours are just incredible and well worth the drive. From here you can head back to town or continue the trail which heads north another 30 minutes to the Blurry-O Ferry, which is the only way to cross the river in this area. This is a cable operated ferry crossing the Red Deer River and it's a fun little spot. The ride takes around 5 minutes as you're pulled across the river on a barge, and it was surprising just how fun this was. You can hop out and enjoy the scenery before getting on your way. Just make sure the ferry is operating as this is seasonal. Carrying on, you then reach the Orkney Viewpoint within about 5 minutes, which has another rough parking lot and yet more amazing views back down into the canyon, this time from the opposite side. In our opinion, this was probably the best viewpoint of the day, so definitely not one to miss. The route then takes you back towards town for another 5 minutes, but we hopped back on Highway 575 and headed back towards Calgary. It was around 3:30 PM by now, so it was about right to drive the 90 minutes back to the city and get some dinner. We found a shopping centre out by the airport and stopped here for some food. The jet lag was kicking in again now, so that was us done for the day, but we had a lovely time out at Drumheller. Somewhere a bit different and a different side to Alberta compared to the Rockies where we were heading next. If you have time, it's a fun family day out that we'd really recommend. Outside of the dinosaur attractions, there are other bits and pieces to see as well, like the Atlas Coal Mine, the Sunny Spot, which looks like a nice spot with a maze, mini golf and pumpkin patch, and Barney's Adventure Park, which looks fun for kids. So there's lots to do out here, and hopefully this gives you a bit of inspiration. If there's anything we missed or anything you've enjoyed out in Drumheller, then please let us know in the comments below. Next week we'll continue the series covering our time out in Canmore and Banff for the next part of our trip. If you like this video, please do the usual and like and subscribe. In the meantime, if you've got any questions or other tips, then please let us know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching.